Welcome to the Limit Free Life Show. I'm Michelle Perkins, your host. I bring you tips, advice, and guest stories about creating work you love. Whatever type of career or business you have or want, I want to help you find more meaning, money, and happiness. Now we are live from Hollywood. Hello, hello. Welcome to the Limit Free Life Show. I'm your host, Michelle Perkins, and I have a fabulous guest with me today. Her name is Katja Schmolka. She has so much going on, so we're going to try to cover all of her fascinating things that she does for work today in our show, and I can't wait for her to share with you how she has built a beautiful career in the world of fashion, art, design, and now a new company that she will tell us about that is really exciting. So Katja is a wonderful example of a creative person in the business world doing wonderful, interesting, amazing things, and I feel like in many ways it's just the beginning. So I'm going to go ahead and introduce Katja to you, and you will have a chance to get to know her and hear her story. So Katja Schmolka is a native of Vienna, Austria, graduated from the prestigious Vienna Institute of Fashion and Design at Palais Hetzendorf. After completing her studies in Vienna and working as a fashion stylist for 3 years, Katja moved to the fashion capitals of the world, Milan and New York City, where she began her rapid and extraordinary career as a fashion editor for several of the city's top fashion magazines. After years as a successful, respected, and in-demand fashion editor, along with her experience and expertise, Katja founded and launched her own magazine, Zip Magazine, an online publication for fashion and the arts, featuring exclusive interviews and the hottest fashion news in New York City. As founder and editor of Zip Magazine, Katja is invited into exciting and private worlds of Manhattan and Los Angeles' A-list with exclusive access and face-to-face interviews with highly acclaimed and award-winning talents working in film, fashion, and the art scene. Among others, Matt Damon, Ben Stiller, Tommy Hilfiger, and Edward Mapplethorpe. Moving from behind the camera to in front of the camera while conducting her digital interviews, Katja found a new love for film and acting. Particularly intrigued by the psychological side of her interviewees' stories, she enrolled in acting classes at the Lee Strasberg Institute for Theater and Film in New York City and continued her studies at the Michelle Danner Acting Studio in Los Angeles. In her latest work, Katja appears in the short film The Forgotten Corner as Rachel de Sinclair in Danny Elfman's Rabbit and Rogue project presented at Indie.com. In 2018, Katja founded her new company, ScentClouds, where she is super excited to bring flower and plant essences to you in the form of healing mists handcrafted in Malibu. While she has been still working as a fashion editor and publisher of her own fashion and art magazine, she now divides her time between creating, producing, designing, and manufacturing her ScentCloud mists, bringing out a new, beautiful aromatherapy product line with the world of fashion and film. She has also been working on a screenplay for a feature film that she's about to finish soon. To Katja, it's all intertwined. One inspires the other. She lives and works in Malibu, California, and welcome.
Hi. Thank you for having me.
We're so glad to have you here. You have a wonderful, long resume that was very fun to read. So I'd love for you to start just by talking a little about your journey, where you started, and some of the things you've done all around the world, which is so exciting.
Mm-hmm. It started in Vienna. So first it started actually with the musical Cats in Vienna. I wanted to enroll into acting and dancing classes in Vienna. And this school for theater would require ballet. Mm. And so then I switched suddenly to fashion, and I thought, okay, fashion is cool too. So I was, 12 years old or something. But I was always fascinated by the arts, by acting, by beautiful environments, by costume design. I'm intrigued by it. It's really my passion, my love. So yeah, then I embarked in the Fashion Institute of Vienna, stayed there 5 years. It's like a high school compared to America. It's like a high school, but 5 years. Mm. And I got out of that school with a degree in fashion and garment engineering and a degree of fashion design.
Nice.
And so at the age of 20, I was out in the world. And I when I finished school, I just knew I wanted to travel and have fun and do my fashion stylings. And this is what happened. So I was lucky to work with really talented upcoming photographers, the same age as me, almost 20 years old. So we would shoot one fashion editorial after the other in Vienna for Viennese magazines. And with the fashion editorials, there's the freedom, or used to be the freedom. It has changed a lot as well. But we could do whatever we wanted. And it was really fun. So we expressed ourselves creatively, and it was really an amazing time.
Nice.
And I knew always, though, that my heart was in Italy. We would always go for vacation with my mom and my brother and my sister to Italy. And so I knew I wanted to go one day to Milan. So what I did, I prepared myself 2 years earlier with the language to speak Italian, because we know nobody there. They speak really lovely and with a whole body Italian, but they don't speak so well English. That's not in a mean way that I say that. But they were so happy when I tried to speak Italian, which was really lovely. I mean, my Italian was not the best in the beginning, but after 2.5 years, it got pretty good, and I just love the Italian mentality and fashion. Milan is fashion capital. So,
very exciting.
yeah. So I stayed there 2.5 years. Then I went back to Vienna, worked there for as a fashion director for a fashion magazine, 4.5 years.
Wow.
Also as a freelance for other magazines. So as a fashion director, I would oversee, do all the fashion editorials for the magazine, would put out the trends, what are the trends, would go to Milan to the fashion shows.
Wow.
And then I added fashion journalism. So I did not go to college, but what I always did, because for me it was like a waste of time. I just wanted to be out there. I'm a doer, so I'm a person. I'm learning by doing. So I studied with a real amazing fashion journalist in Vienna, and she taught me how to write. You know, fashion journalism generally, not fashion journal, but generally. And then I started to do interviews and write them, and I just love people, and I love stories, and it's just lovely to feel the other person's energy and excitement when they talk about their journey.
Right.
So that's what I added then. And then we stayed 9 years in Vienna, and then we moved to New York City. Stayed there 6 years.
Wow.
And I continued doing my fashion editorials and interviews. Founded Zip magazine there, but was still working for European magazines. And 5 years ago, we moved to Malibu, and with our kids, and we love it. Los Angeles is great. It's very creative. It's very open-spirited.
Yeah.
I feel like I grew so much also on a spiritual level, and people are really lovely, I have to say.
Yeah.
It's very healing here, so yeah.
That's so neat. It's nice to hear that, because I feel that way, but you've seen so many places and lived so many places, so that's interesting.
New York is cool too, and the people are amazing, but it's just so fast-paced that you cannot keep up. You feel like a hamster in a wheel, and it's never. And then you sit in your apartment in the 22nd floor, and you just want silence.
Yeah.
And then you hear the air condition zzz, and you feel like, okay, that's not my future here. It's just too much. It's just too much. Also for the kids, very competitive, and we just wanted them to be free and
Malibu's good for that.
Teenagers
for
have
kids.
fun, experiment. Yeah, so
It's interesting because what you're describing is such a full, busy sounding career, but you have such a calm way about you. Was there ever a time during that it sounds like you were thoroughly enjoying it, but was it ever just really a lot and hard
Oh,
to handle?
yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a lot. And this is where my healing remedies come into the game. I would always use like Bach flowers, they are from England. Then I would use the Schüssler salts, they're from Germany. In Austria, we use lots of herbs. So it's all connected somehow. So when it got too much, I would just brew teas to calm ourselves. And I was always working with the kids, giving them natural remedies. So with them, I always felt safe. There is no other things happening in the body other than they help. But so that made me feel safe, that they are well, and also the immune system is working.
Right.
It's a nice way to get also the immune system stronger. And we were sick a lot in New York. Oh my God, we were all the time sick. The winters were horrible.
Yeah.
Then I think we were not used to the climate. It's really tough in the winter. So New York was cool, but it was really intense.
Well, and so that takes us to your development of your new company, which is ScentClouds.
Yeah.
So do you want to talk a little about how that progressed?
Yeah. Actually, also this started in my childhood. I feel like all the things that you carry, that's what I've discovered for myself, it starts in a childhood. A love, a passion for something.
Right.
I would always draw. We spent the summers in my grandparents' house on the countryside. So we would be there, my sister and I. My brother came later, he's 13 years younger than me, but my sister and I in the beginning would be there 2 months,
Wow.
during the summer break.
Nice.
And we would be in the garden all day long. So picking cherries from the trees,
Wow.
eating the tomatoes from the ripe
Tomatoes from the plant.
ripe, yeah. So, smelling the flowers, because we grew up in the city, and I, as much as I loved the city, I was always loved nature. Always, it's like part of me, and so it started there, and then also when I got my first child, Niels, our firstborn. I would even start more to use essential oils. And this started when I met a healer woman. I needed support back then. I had a really difficult family situation, and I was about to burn out. It was just too much, and it was very sad. It was a loss in my family. And I would go to her, and she said, use the Lang Lang scent. And she said, just put 3 drops on a napkin and put it in your bra. And I loved the idea. It was that simple. So I did that for 2 or 3 months, and and I took also the Bach flowers or valerian drops, and it really carried me through this difficult time. Because I needed to be there also for Niels, my younger son, and I had a brother that was 13, that needed to be taken care of as well, and I had my job, so it was really a lot. But I have to say that all these things always helped me through the hardest time and healed me. And then, so 1 year ago, so I've been working with essential oils for my kids always. I have like a book thick like that. It's like a Bible. And
Wow.
I studied also about it in Vienna. I took classes years ago.
Nice.
And so I would mix the oils like potions. I really love that. I love witches. They knew, they were just wise women.
Yeah.
They knew about herbs and all that. So I love that. I love fairy tales. So that's my world, But there's so much truth in that.
Right.
There's a lot of truth in that. And so I started mixing oils together when they felt stressed in school, or when there were, when it was just too much, or when there was tummy aches or a headache. So I would mix together the oils, and it helps.
Yeah.
It always helps.
Right.
And that's the beauty about it. It
Right.
helps. And I did not need to give them regular medication, which I'm more scared of regular medication about what it does other than it helps. So, but that's something with me that's very personal. Other people have another approach, and I respect that, but that's just me. So I always felt safe about it. And then 1 year ago, I started ScentClouds, the mists. And as a writer, to me, words have a lot of meanings. So it's also when we talk to our kids, we always try to talk in a positive way. Right. Please, could you do this and that? Could you put the plate away and not, oh, you left the plate again, So always try to encourage them in a positive way. And to me, words have such a power.
Right.
So, and people are, more and more people are meditating. So I thought, okay, I'm gonna just pick 8 words that I really love, that have empowered me. And so I drew them with my hand. I painted them and made them as my signature. Yeah. It's not the logo, the logo, ScentClouds, I love the name, but it's really about the words. It's the love, joy. It's that what we want to have in our life, right?
Right.
And but it's so easy to get away from these lovely energies and words because the world is harsh.
Right.
I mean, it is.
Right.
So...
I love the ScentClouds, and I love the way that you did the words on the bottles. I don't know if Ryan's probably showing some pictures, but they are beautifully done, and they do really reinforce the idea that you're trying to get across with that mist. So and the fragrance, and it's just all kind of works to help you just reinvigorate yourself and refresh and remember what you're wanting to focus on. So they're just beautiful, and there's a lot more to them than one would immediately see. So I mean the idea of the intention and the word, and then what else is inside of them, because there's some secret things inside the bottles. And then also you had told me once, one of the reasons that you created a mist versus an oil, which I thought was really interesting. So maybe you can share that.
Yeah, that's true. I started out with the oils and would give them to friends, and they loved them. But I figured out that not everybody, especially here in California where it's hot, the climate is hot, not everybody likes to put an oil on their body. So it feels greasy and heavy. So I thought, what else could I do with the same formula? And I thought a mist is so easy. You can use it on your whole body. It's not greasy. It's light. The aroma, the flower essences and plant essences still are being absorbed by the body, which is important because that's the healing effect.
Right.
Also, you smell good. It's like a light parfum, but it's not heavy.
Right.
It's really lovely. So you're like in this veil of scents, and you smell good, and it's nice.
Yeah, it really is. Sometimes I forget, and I start spraying it on me like a perfume, and then I realize, no, this is like spray it and step into it so that you can breathe the mist. And that's our ScentCloud ritual. So as you said, there are different ways. One is just to spray it in front of you, and you make this step, and you close your eyes, and you feel the tiny mist pearls on your face, and it's cool and it's nice, and you breathe in. The other way is to spray it on your body like a perfume, also after the shower or in your hair even, and you carry them all day with you and have the scent in your hair. We also use it on the pillows, on the sheets, on the linen sheets before you go to bed. I mean, that's like that's so lovely. It's like in heavens, It is, and you taught me that, and it's a ritual for me. It's on my pillow every night, and I you never know how these things work, but psychologically now
they do work.
It helps me go to sleep.
Yeah, they do work.
Yeah. So, what are some of the fragrances that you use in this?
Yeah. For instance, for the peace mist, it's really about relaxing and calming after a long day. There's lavender and vanilla. They are both very relaxing and soothing. And once you spray them, there's something happening. It's like with a good piece of music. There is this scent brain connection, and it goes back to when we are babies, and the baby recognizes the mom by her scent.
Yeah. Right.
And also the voice, of course, but also by her scent. So we have these memories of grandma baking an apple pie, Christmas. So scents are something really beautiful and precious. So this is why scents work so nicely.
Yeah.
And for the joy scent, this reminds me of the time when we spent a lot of time in Italy. It's in Europe, my favorite country. And they were the grapefruit trees and orange trees, and I just love them. And it's so joyful, when it's raining outside and you're tired and you feel, I need to do this and that, or I need to write a piece and I can't get going. I need to finish this interview and spray this, and I swear to you, you feel great afterwards. It's doing so much. And
yeah. Oh, I love that so much. So so you've started developing, you developed these initially for yourself and for your children, right?
Yes.
And then you decided you would go ahead and create a business out of it.
Yes.
Yeah, which is very cool. So you're such an artistic, creative person, and now you're running a business. So, are there some challenges you had to overcome? Are there some conflicts with that, or do you feel like it's all aligned pretty well?
I would say naturally, other people tell me otherwise, but I would not call myself a businesswoman.
I would tell you otherwise.
I'm a strategist, and I have great ideas how I can combine them and put them together. But there is this tedious work of the business, which is being a creative really hard, because it's always tedious work, even as a creative.
Right.
But somehow, as a creative, things fall into your mind, into your lap. There's like a stream, an unconscious stream, and it feels easy.
Yeah.
It's so easy for me to create something, where else for someone else, how did you do that? That's so easy for me. With the business, you have to write manuals, you have to give directions, it's all planned out. And I'm not someone who wants to have everything planned out naturally from my person.
Right.
So I'm in a learning process.
Yeah.
I mean, to a certain degree, I was self-employed always. So I would work on contract basis for the magazines. So I was freelance always. So I had the responsibility of my own company, of the bookkeeping and everything. But having a company where you sell something like a product, that's another thing.
Right.
So it asks a lot of you, actually.
Right.
So
Yeah, it does, and you're juggling quite a number of things. So, so are you finding that you're figuring out how to? You're a fairly disciplined person in terms of scheduling.
Yes.
So how are you? Because a lot of people would like to do a number of things, but for a lot of people, one thing is really all they can manage and focus on. So how do you keep all of this going at once?
For instance, with the magazine, we have new stories 2 times a week.
Okay.
Not 10 stories every day.
Okay. Right.
So it's a thing step by step. With the interviews, I would have an interview once a month or twice a month. It's about the amount that every amount of time that I dedicate to every project. Right now, the most amount of time goes to ScentClouds, while I'm still doing the other things. So one day, for instance, I would work only on Zip magazine.
Right.
So I have the focus there, and I'm completely into writing, and because it's hard to switch back and forth the business side, it's so analytic.
Right.
And writing is poetic, you can say that. So there's like a flow, and it's a different thing, it's a different energy.
Right.
So I have to do one thing one day, and the other day is dedicated to ScentClouds. I mean 3 days a week at least to ScentClouds.
Right.
The writing, sometimes I do it on the weekends, although I try to have the weekends free.
Because you're balancing
That's
a family as well, not just all these business
That's
endeavors.
been a golden rule for me always. I mean, if I'm in a project, like in a shooting or, and it goes on over a longer time, then of course you have the weekends. That's clear. You're bound to a project and you do it. And but once it's finished and I have my own schedule, I try not ever to work on the weekends.
That's
because
a great rule.
This is also where my creativity flows. Because when I'm quiet, when I just have downtime, lovely time with my family, then suddenly I have an idea and I think, I'm going to have a look at that book. I didn't have that in a long time in my hand. And I go through it and I think, this idea is great for ScentClouds. So I could do that for that. And this is great for Zip magazine. I love that. I'm going to look into that. And this is great for my screenplay. So the location or whatever. So, and this is where it's all intertwined.
Right.
But it's extremely important to have your mind quiet and not to be overworked, because that's not working with the not with me. I mean, there are creatives out there. I need downtime in between. So what I do is, and I really love it, I take power naps.
I love that.
Other people do meditation. I just blank out for 20 minutes. And it doesn't matter if it's in the car or wherever. I blank out 20 minutes. I have the clock, my phone. And then I'm completely fresh.
Wow.
And that's
great.
that's fascinating. That's really fascinating.
But it's good because you sort of have to shut down and restart like a computer, because you're moving into completely different, like you say, different energies, different projects.
But that's what I love. That's the challenge, and that's so fascinating to me. That's really fascinating.
I also really like the way you separate, so a whole day is devoted to one thing. Because I think what a lot of us do is try to fit, I'll work, a couple hours in the morning on this, and then in the afternoon I'll, and your mind isn't, it's still on the morning activities when you're in the afternoon, and that's a really good idea to just have
for
the
me
day be devoted to one
it's too
place.
distracting, because I want to get to the ground with one thing, and maybe other people can do that, but you have to know yourself, who you are. So I can't. So when I'm writing an interview, I write on it sometimes 2 or 3 days, but I need at least one day where I'm only writing on this interview and I'm in my world completely. And so that's how it works for me. I think there are other people, they're more like multitasker. Oftentimes I have to multitask, to but it's not my choice, actually.
I agree. And I think a lot of people like to think that they're good at that, but and I'm probably one of them too. But I think if you can focus on one thing at a time and stay there, it's much more productive.
Yeah.
So.
Actually, I have a dream. I would love to spend 3 weeks just writing and me, the paper, my computer, and me, just 3 weeks, no interruptions with anything, like a hermit or something. Just this. I mean,
sounds great. With a lot of ScentClouds around you. One thing that you sort of alluded to was the environment that you're working in, and that's the other thing where I like these mists and the idea of having things that create rituals for your environment so you can get more done, because I think there's so much to that of walking in your office and setting things up, whatever it is, the lighting, the scent, and you just walk in and it sets your mind up for whatever it is that you want to do.
Yeah. What is lovely with the ScentClouds, if you love one of these scents, you can bring it anywhere with you, and there are so many artists and creatives out there, but other people, business people, they travel a lot.
Right.
And traveling does a lot to your energy field, and it can be very distracting. So you spend so much time in the hotel rooms.
Right.
This is not your private space, but you're there for a long time. You have to perform, you have to be at your best.
Right.
So, and if you bring the scent that you really love, it's like a veil of protection. It's like a piece of home. It's cozy. I always want to feel cozy when I'm in a place and feel like home, even though it's not my home.
Right.
And I would always bring also my amethyst crystal, and I have, that's the secret in the
yes.
ScentClouds.
Yeah, tell us about that a little bit.
There are tiny amethyst crystals. So what I love is this scent.
Yeah,
I love that.
too.
It's sensual? No.
Functional? I'm not sure.
Sensorial.
Oh,
Yeah.
Cool word.
Sorry, my
Yes.
English.
Yeah. I love that. Amethyst is my favorite too. So.
And it's also, amethyst has stands for spiritual protection and higher consciousness. So when we are out there, I like to feel protected. After all, when you travel a lot, because when I'm in Vienna, in my hometown, and then I'm always there, then I feel kind of protected. But when you travel a lot and you meet new people and everything changes a lot, then it's nice to just feel protected. But that's a personal thing. I don't know how other people feel about that. That's my spiritual
I agree.
side.
It's lovely. And when you get used to having it with you, it's kind of a little security.
It's like a tool. Yeah. It's a tool where you feel empowered, where you feel safe. And
So what, being a business owner now of a product-based business, what's come up for you in terms of challenges? Because everybody is going to have challenges when they do a business. So
first, you try to do everything yourself, and that's of course not working because it's too much. So you learn about what all needs to be done, and it's really multifaceted with a business. There are many puzzle pieces.
So
you do them yourself, and then you sit on the couch and say, okay, no, that's not working. It's too much. And then you think of people, you try to find allies, people that you trust, that are close to you. So who start helping you. So you start outsourcing. And then also a thing that I was not raised like that. We would never ask for help, you know. So go out there and ask for help. So, and that's a hard thing to do still for me. It's really, because I know everybody has a full plate, everybody's busy. It's too much already for everybody. So I'm coming and asking for help, but sometimes I need to. And the lovely thing is, I get the help, but if this person needs help from me, then it's so lovely. It's a giving and giving, and I really love that.
And it's such a good point. And what is your experience? I mean, I can gather from what you're saying, but your experience asking for help, it's new and it's different and it's a little uncomfortable, but the experience has been a positive one, right?
And actually people are so pleased to help.
I know.
And that's so lovely. I never thought about that, because I feel like, okay, I'm a burden for this person now because there's something else on the table, but actually they are so happy to help. And I'm also always happy to help. So it's a lovely energy, I have to say. It's very rewarding. It's lovely.
Yeah, I know. I feel like people, I mean, they don't realize how much people want to help them, whether it's in business or in the career change world. People are reluctant to reach out and ask for help with that. But in general, people like to help.
Yeah.
So. And they have good ideas, and they
do.
Of course, you can't think of everything within the confines of your own brain. So you need the outside input.
We have a saying in Vienna, and it says, "You don't see the the forest with all the trees anymore, you know. So I don't know in English. There must be another term, but that's what's happening,
we have the same.
basically. And then you're stuck because, and then you get resentful. And I mean, this is my project of passion, and there's my heart in it. So I don't want to be resentful and become negative because I'm overwhelmed. But I had that in the past, of course. So I went through that. And now I have my tools like meditation, yoga, ScentClouds, you know, to go past that. Because you can be overwhelmed really easily. It's happening easily.
And you can make your business really complex so that it's hard to manage too, which I feel like you have not done. And I feel like
simple.
I know, and I love that. I think everybody should learn from that because you don't have to build all this enormous complexity, even though we have all these ways to market and all these people telling us all the things that we need to do. You can start at a point and start bringing the revenue in, and then start, you know, go to the next step once you have that revenue coming in and you're testing things. And I know you've been very savvy as a business owner because you are testing. You're not just assuming that everybody's going to buy or look at this ad which is much more on the analytical side. But
Actually, and that's new to me. It's fascinating, and I always love to learn and grow. I mean, life is about joy and growth, and so that's kind of fascinating. One day I would love to have like a ScentCloud store, but that's in the future, not now. Now it would be too much. So now it's just step by step growing, and keeping it simple. So what I love about ScentClouds is that we produce them by hand. They are handcrafted.
I love that too.
And I'm a craftsperson, so I love to create things with my hand, and it's so nice because then the people who work on them, there's the energy, they are happy too, and it's made with love, and I love that. And it's made in LA. It's it's made with love. I love that.
Right. I love that too, and they're quite long lasting. And
they are.
And actually, you've priced them really reasonably, which I know you had an intention for that too, which I think is kind of beautiful. So you should share that.
Yeah, for me, it's important that even the mom, you know, who is a single mom and is not on the sunny side of life, and there are many women out there or families. It's not only moms, families, dads, who are not on the sunny side for whatever reasons, that everybody could buy this mist for their children because they want to do them something nice or make them feel better because they're stressed in school, and to have that possibility to buy it, and that's important to me. That's very important to me.
That was lovely because it's definitely a choice. They are handcrafted and they're made with beautiful ingredients. And
and they're organic and still affordable, and that's important because it's important that everybody can have access to that.
So we're almost out of time. It happens every time. So it goes so fast. But I want to ask you one quick question about, because we always talk about money mindset a little bit on the show. And so is there anything that you can think of that you had that when you went into doing this?
To look more with spending money, I would wish, but we that one piece, then
and I can see much you being here with. So, and days at 1:00, and there's really nothing to figure out. We need to have that they have always